TaxAct knows filing taxes can be confusing, so we have live experts on hand who can help answer any questions you may have. Questions like, can I claim my SUV as my home office if I answer work emails in my car? If I adopted 12 dogs this year, can I list them as dependents? And, am I doing this right, or am I doing this very, very wrong? Our experts have the answers to those questions and many others. TaxAct. Let's get them over with.
This week's episode of the Show Before the Show podcast from MLB.com. Tyler Mon, Sam Dykstra. We got fun stuff coming up for you today. Fun and different stuff. That's our motto lately.
Yeah, no, and it's born out of necessity, obviously. We wish we were talking about baseball right now, but we are going to be talking about a different kind of baseball this week. For any of you guys who listened last week, we are doing this week what we promised last week, which is really exciting. And it's something I don't think we've done something like this in a while. I know we did one a couple of years ago in the AFL.
Yeah, we did.
But we haven't brought that back. So now, obviously, we have tons of time like the rest of you all do, sitting at home. And as I'm saying this, I'm slowly crawling away from my desk because I have a slanted floor and this rolling chair is not wanting me to be near my desk. So if you hear rolling in the background, that's me just trying to catch back up to the microphone. But this is a really fun week. I really looking forward to what we can do with this and what we can bring for you in weeks ahead, including next week.
Well, all of these things we are cagily referring to, we're going to dive into here in a moment. But thanks for joining us on this week's episode of the show. You can find the show at MILB.com/podcast and everywhere else you get your podcasting content, #content, and leave us a rating and a review and a subscription and all that stuff if you are so inclined and so excited to give us 5 stars wherever. And the thing that we are discussing, if you tuned into the show last week, kind of gave you a little tease on it. And we seem to have ironed out the technical side. And by we, I mean Sam. And we're ready to go. So what we are doing for next week is I feel like we got to come up with some sort of name for it. But it is essentially a Super Prospect Showcase Showdown. No,
wow.
We can't use Showcase Showdown. That's a Price is Right thing. But what we're doing is on MLB The Show 20, the newest edition. Sam and I, feel free to throw us any merchandise, San Diego studios. Sam and I yesterday drafted 2 teams of prospects that we will be pitting against each other in a simulated game on MLB The Show. That's an important thing to clarify. We're not going to be playing this game. We're going to be simulating this game. We're doing it. We're recording it this coming Monday. We will be doing it essentially like a broadcast. You've seen teams across the minor leagues and even the major leagues. I know the San Diego Padres, for my money, the best broadcast team in baseball, Don Orsillo and Mudcat Grant. They did one last week, I want to say, with the Padres. And we'll be doing something similar, but we will be doing it with 2 teams of minor league stars. And so today we are going to run you through our rosters, or at least our starting lineups, pitcher and DH included. And we're going to tell you all about these squads. And I'm pumped. I am pumped.
Yeah, this is so much fun because we're going to be commenting, but we're also going to be kind of rooting for our teams at the same time. I don't want to go full Hawk Harrelson by any means, but I might have to at certain points if some of my players just go off in certain ways. And the way we've formed these rosters are very interesting. We'll get into it when we're done. I don't want to tease anything out yet. They're 2 different philosophies, which I think A, makes for a great game, but B, just makes for it's some interesting matchups and things that we won't see on a field outside of maybe the futures game. This is basically what we're building here is the futures game. Anybody with prospect eligibility is eligible to be picked in this draft, eligible to be placed on our rosters. It's going to be fascinating to see how the game sims because it's going to be out of our hands at that point too.
Yeah.
We do want to say that. We set the rosters. We're going to give you our starting lineups here. But once it's in the system, whoever our virtual managers are going to take it and run with it. But before we get going, we should lay out who our teams are because
we should.
we picked 2 minor league teams. This is a minor league baseball
It would have been
podcast.
fun for us to do the Sams against the Tylers or something similar, but I don't think, and we didn't really want to devote the time to figuring it out. Even if you create teams, I don't know if you can use them just in like a one-off exhibition. I think you can only use them in like Diamond Dynasty and franchise mode. So we just decided to go with minor league franchises and make it a little easier that way.
Yeah, so Tyler, do you want to tell the people who you picked for your?
So I, as many people know, live in Denver, born and raised Rockies fan. I did not draft a single Rockies. I don't think either of us has a Rockies prospect on our roster. So I was like, I should probably do something to honor some of my baseball fandom. Grew up, falling in love with baseball, minor league games in Denver, and then the Rockies came around, and so I decided I'll pick a Rockies affiliate. So. Got to go with the Yard Goats. Thought about going with the Isotopes, but I didn't want to steal any thunder from Better Call Saul's season finale, which was a couple nights ago, because those two things are totally related and they cross over. People would be like, oh, man, I was excited about the season finale. And then this minor league baseball writer chose the Isotopes for a simulated video game. No, I'm going to go with the Goats, and that's my squad. So congratulations to Hartford.
I mean, it's just more fun when the Yard Goats are involved.
Yeah.
They have a fun Twitter account. They have a fun name.
Sing that song at some point during the broadcast. Eat it up.
That just makes me sad for what my team was going to be. I was going to be the Amarillo Sod Poodles.
Right.
Just because I love their aesthetic. I love their jerseys. I like the idea of it being a Texas League team versus an Eastern League team, making that work. But when I tried to play the game myself just to see how the rosters were working out, making sure the game actually worked, I realized that if Tyler had an NL affiliate and I had an NL affiliate with the Padres, we were going to have our pitchers hit, which is not something we want in this game. We want it to be as fun as possible, which, hot take, the DH is more fun, the AL is more fun. So I'm going to take the Rocket City Trash Pandas, AA affiliate of the Los Angeles Angels, not only just to give us that DH dynamic, but we haven't seen the Rocket City Trash Pandas actually play a game. We should be seeing them debut by
them for several years.
Yeah, at this point, it's been a year and a half since we knew their identity. They've been selling merchandise forever, it seems like. So let's give them their chance. This will be their chance to have a debut. And to see some of these prospects adorn Trash Pandas uniforms is hilarious to me. Maybe not to them, but hilarious to me. Hopefully hilarious to you guys watching at home. And the idea of the Trash Pandas versus the Yard Goats. If you told us that in 2013, we'd be laughing hysterically. So let's make it happen in the virtual space.
Yeah. So let's dive in. So we did a snake draft, which with 2 people is, not really the same level. I actually did a fantasy draft for franchise on the show a few weeks ago, and it goes like 40 some rounds, and there's all 30 teams. So I picked 2nd and then 29th, and that takes a while to get through. 2 of us, it's a little easier. But we decided to go that way, and Sam got pick number 1 thanks to the Google coin flip thing, which failed me because I picked tails and it was not tails.
Yeah, which also was completely virtual, and I had to send you evidence that it came up heads.
Right, I did not.
Not that you demanded it. I just wanted to send it to you in the ideas of sportsmanship and making sure everything's on the level here in this game that has so much bragging rights that I want to make sure we're doing things right.
So, pick number 1 with the first pick in the 2020 The Show Prospect Showdown Spectacular. Samuel C. Dykstra selects.
The Rocket City Trash Pandas with the first.
Right.
Well, no, I mean, I'm announcing the pick on behalf of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. Select Gavin Lux, shortstop / second baseman.
I was a little surprised. You went Gavin Lux, pick number 1. Not because he is not deserving, but I figured you would have gone with one of the 2 guys that I picked first. My first 2.
Well, this is going to become evident as we go along here. But
right, like the last pick in the draft could have been the first pick. That's how good all of these dudes are.
For sure. There really aren't any wrong picks here. Like we said, it's like making a futures game roster. You're going to hear tons of talent here. There's not going to be anything too surprising. That said, we are playing this in a video game. I'm trying to win said video game. So I created this whole spreadsheet of like guys and their actual ratings within the game. MLB The Show, for as much fun as it is to play, sometimes their rankings of minor leaguers get a little off. Yeah. Gavin Lux, in this game is ranked as an 81. I saw no other prospect ranked higher than 79. A lot of that has to do with his great 2019 season, the fact that he made the major leagues, the fact that he was expected to be the Dodgers' starting second baseman on opening day. Obviously, he's probably the most major league ready prospect we have. And plugging him into a prospect roster, there's going to be a big drop off between him and other second basemen I could find or other shortstops I could find. So yeah, that's why he factored into my top pick. He's arguably the number 2 prospect in baseball right now. Anyways, there's really not, it's between him and maybe Wander Franco is undoubtedly number 1, but he's pretty close to unanimously number 2. So not only do I get a good future talent, but I get a good current talent. Putting him in there and watching him hit is going to be a lot of fun. He's probably going to be my number 2 or 3 hitter. If I can finagle the lineups, we'll see how that works. But yeah, I felt like getting somebody who's major league ready, getting somebody who's an actually good prospect. Gavin Lux, number 1. That's where I went.
Yeah, and that was the smart way to go. I did not go that way picking on the ratings. I picked on real life. What do we want to build for this franchise? What do we want this franchise to be someday? And so I started in a very cliche. I only know the basics about what it would take to build a franchise kind of way. Started right up the middle. So Wander Franco was my first selection. And then, since we went snake, I got back-to-back picks. I went with Adley Rutschman as my second pick, the top catching prospect in baseball.
Yeah, the credit I will give you throughout your team is you made the fun picks. You made the guys we want to see in this game play and put them all on one roster. And the idea of playing this game without Wander Franco is nutso.
We couldn't do it.
Yeah, we couldn't do it. So you taking him with the first pick, make sure I didn't take him at some point and have Gavin Lux and Wander Franco as my double play pairing, which would have been amazing. But unfortunately, you didn't let me do that. And then Adley Rutschman, catcher. I mean, I wrote about this last week when we were talking about age 22 lineups on the Toolshed Dream lineups. The drop off between him and the next catcher, who might be Joey Bart in terms of catching prospects, is fairly big. He's a generational talent, and getting him behind the plate is basically a no-brainer. The funny thing is, though, because we are drafting only starting lineups, once you draft your catcher, I don't have to draft a catcher until a long time ago.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And you did not until later.
Spoiler.
But next up, a pick that had we stuck with 2 National League affiliates, this would have been the most brilliant pick of the day.
It would have been.
And it still could be.
I wish I had thought of that when I made the pick. I'm going to be honest. I did not. And when I was, just playing the game yesterday by myself, I was like, oh, wait a minute. This guy's going to have to hit, huh? If we keep with this. And that is Brendan McKay. I went with Brendan McKay as my starting pitcher. The left-hander with the Tampa Bay Rays, made the major leagues last year, kind of in a similar boat to Gavin Lux. Didn't have great major league success necessarily, but absolutely burned through AA and AAA. A lot of pitches he can work with. That major league experience is only going to help us here. I want somebody who let's be frank, this is not a futures game in terms of guys are only going to go 1 or 2 innings. The game is going to sim it like it's a normal baseball game. He's probably going to go 5 or 6. Somebody with major league experience facing major league hitters. Some of these guys on your team, Wander Franco hasn't made AA yet. So Brendan McKay
we trust him in this big moment. Okay.
I'm not doubting your pick. Sam, I'm just saying
we're
getting
already
a guy who
throwing
knows
shade at my team. Is that it?
Yes, of course I am. But Brendan McKay knows what it takes to face major league hitters at least. That's who I want to rely on for 5 or 6 innings. So he's my left-handed pitcher. He won't hit. We made the change. Maybe the manager will make some weird thing happen. I don't know, but he won't hit. And then for my third pick, I went with Carter Kieboom. Again, somebody who made the majors last year, did not have any level of success by his own admission, by the Nats' own admission. But he entered this spring. They were really trying to get him to win that third base job. I think when you play the show, he is the Nats' default starting third baseman. He has shortstop in his game. He has second base in his game. I drafted him kind of expecting him to be my third baseman. We'll see if they stick with that. When I played it yesterday, they had Lux at second, Kieboom at short. I'm okay with either version of that. But Kieboom can really hit. He was a PCL end-of-season All-Star last year. Young talent, but everything in the game right there, he was the 4th highest ranked prospect I found according to ratings in the game. Plugging him in the middle of that lineup, I'm not going to have to worry about it. So figuring out 2 of my 4 infielders, really happy to have that, and my starting pitcher here with the top 3 picks.
I continued my process building up the middle, Sam. That's what I did. It's the smart way.
It's a smart way to do a team.
And we love it, don't we, folks? We're seeing it more and more. I went with Luis Robert, also a Major League ready guy who we anticipated being in the starting lineup for the Chicago White Sox on opening day. Of course, signed the Major League deal over the offseason, so I went with Luis Robert in the outfield. And then, to counter your starting lefty, I picked one of my own in Mackenzie Gore. Again, somewhat similarly to Wander Franco, a guy that has not climbed incredibly high yet in his minor league career, but we trust him. We trust him at this organization. I know that he's only 21. I know that last year, he made the 5-game stint in Amarillo. Weirdly enough, he'll be pitching against, would have been pitching against his former team had you stuck with Amarillo. I trust him. I believe in him, Sam.
I mean, he was our minor league starting pitcher of the year last year.
He was.
It's the same thing as Wander Franco.
Signed to this big virtual deal. I'm paying him a lot of PlayStation money.
I wish I could
coins from Sonic the Hedgehog. I stole them all. Paying these guys and all of that.
Yeah, I wish I could go into the roster and see exactly what their contracts would be.
What
when you add
payrolls would be for these teams.
Right, how that would kind of work out. But the whole reason we're doing this is to have fun. And Mackenzie Gore facing another prospect-laden lineup is just fun. He's undeniably the top pitching prospect in baseball. So many pitches he can deal with. He can fill up the zone. Making him the starting pitcher is a smart pick. Whether it's the right pick, we'll let the game decide on that one. So for my next 2 ones, this one was actually the most fun pick I had to make because the show, the video game, for some reason thinks Jason Dominguez, the Yankees prospect, who has not played a professional baseball game at all yet.
Yeah. But has a line in his description. I want to make sure that it's still there and find it. Sorry to jump in on you, but it's just such a perfect line. It is this quote from MLB Pipeline. He won't make his pro debut until mid-2020, but he already has earned comparisons to some of the best athletes in baseball history, such as Bo Jackson, Mickey Mantle, and Mike Trout. He is 17 years old, Jason Dominguez. He was born on February 7th, 2003, signed last July by the Yankees, and scouts are already like, oh, he might be Mike Trout. What?
Yeah, I mean, some of those are hyperbole, but he's a 5-tool talent, no doubt. And the fact that the video game likes him enough to give him a 72 rating as a 17-year-old is crazy. He's a switch hitter. When I played the game yesterday, he was my center fielder, moving some of the other talented outfielders I have here to the corners. He has the potential in the world to be an all-world player. The fact that they think he's this good right now is really cool. So when I talk about my first couple of picks and I say these guys are Major League ready, he isn't, but the game loves him enough, and I really like him enough to have fun with it, put him into that lineup. That'll be really cool. So Jason Dominguez here is my 4th pick. And then I went with Alec Boehm, third baseman / first baseman here. I talked about before Carter Kieboom could be my third baseman. I kind of think about moving Alec Boehm to first base. We'll see how things work out. I make a pick later that I think ensures that will happen. But Alec Boehm, a really good hitter, really big hitter from the right side. The Phillies actually like what he's done defensively, and they think he can stick at third base long term. In a one-game must-win scenario, I'm going to stick him at first and not worry about it. The power's a little bit behind the hit tool right now, but everybody believes he's going to grow into that and focus a little bit more on power. We'll see how things go. But adding his bat to the lineup, adding a little bit more versatility that I already have in Lux and Kieboom and now Boehm in that infield is really special. So yeah, versatility is something obviously I'm harping on here, and Major League readiness. I think he was probably going to help the Phillies within the first 2 months of the season. Put him in here, and I don't have to worry about either the third base or the first base spot.
I went young again for not this next pick, but the one at, well, I guess they're both young, but one of them has climbed near the big league level, and maybe it was a little bit of a reach on just how high I took him, but I really have always liked him as a prospect ever since he was taken in the first round out of Oregon State back in 2018. I took Nick Madrigal, who played 29 games with AAA Charlotte last year, to be my second baseman. And then after him, a guy that I've loved since he was an amateur player in Wisconsin, in Jared Kelenic, the outfielder from the Seattle Mariners organization. So I got a couple outfielders, one basically big league ready in Luis Robert, his organizational teammate at second base in Nick Madrigal, and then his outfield mate in Jared Kelenic that I took with my 5th and 6th picks.
Yeah, and this kind of continues to talk about you going up the middle, which I did not realize in the moment. You take Nick Madrigal at second base. Second base is not exactly a deep position here, especially with Lux off the board now.
Right.
And Kelenic, I don't know how the game's going to choose this, but Robert could be your center fielder. Kelenic could be your center fielder. The great thing about making this prospects is that you could have so many athletes on the grass that you could have 3 center fielders essentially, and cover a lot of ground. So that's really special. Your strategy here, which is only now revealing itself,
we all have to
up the middle.
have organization cohesiveness, Sam. I can't be the Seattle Seahawks GM who's having walls knocked down in his house in order to install like Zoom for a teleconference for the NFL draft. My organization, we got to be on one page, streamlined, intelligent. This is our plan. This is who we are. The Fighting Tylers.
Well, now it just makes me feel like mine is just like all over the place.
Yeah,
like I was just like this guy and this guy and this guy.
And then when you crush me, then we'll look back on that.
When it's just you talking in innings 7, 8, and 9, because I'm just sitting back smiling the whole time watching you dig your own grave. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, I won't talk. I'll be too angry. It'll just be silence. The game will just be silence.
You just hear a thud.
We'll flip Matt Vasgersian back on.
Yeah, there we go.
We're both done.
No, I will happily talk through my winnings. I'll fill the time gladly. Don't you worry. So after Alec Bohm, I went with Joe Adell. I obviously the best outfield prospect still on the board here. Kind of surprised he lasted this long that I didn't take him a little bit higher. He's expected to be the right fielder of the future for the Angels only because Mike Trout's playing center field. Another basically major league ready prospect. Move him into right next to Jason Dominguez. That's going to work really well. And then this was kind of surprising to me, but I guess it makes sense. If we are going to do DHs in this league, I went with Nick Solak of the Texas Rangers, somebody who still has prospect eligibility remaining. Never really been a top 100 prospect, but a lot of people really like his bat. He showed that last year during a call up with the Rangers. The biggest question with him is where do you put him defensively? He's played second base. He's played the outfield. Never really getting anything close to above average grades, no matter where he plays with the glove. I put him in at DH. I don't have to worry about it. He's not necessarily your stereotypical DH. He's not a huge bopper, but he's a good hitter. He showed a little bit of pop last year with the Rangers. The game seems to like him. He's ranked 73, which is right there with Brendan McKay, one spot below Carter Kieboom at 74. I want guys who are ready to produce right now. Nick Solak is that. And if I can make him my DH, then I don't have to worry about that glove whatsoever. So Joe Adell, somebody who can bring value on that defensive end, the base pass, the hit tool, the power tool, all of that. Nick Solak, a potential offensive monster in the middle of my lineup. I'm happy with those two.
I moved over to the corner infield spots for my 7th and 8th picks and grabbed 2 defensive wizards. We're going to play a lot of good defense on this team as well, Sam. From the Pittsburgh Pirates organization, son of one of the very first dudes that I watched play the position that I later played at a very high level at 3A high school baseball in the state of Colorado. Ke'Bryan Hayes, son of Charlie Hayes. He's my third baseman, and I debated a lot on first base on the other side, because the top-ranked first base prospect in the game right now is a guy I really like, who I would later take in the draft. But I'll save that. That's a tease, see. But I went with Evan White from the Mariners organization. Like, my whole team is like Mariners and White Sox. But Evan White, to me, his defensive tool is so rare and so elite. He's got a 70 grade field tool as a first baseman, which, we're drafting for a 1-game simulated video game showdown. But I really like that about Evan White. He's also a guy who offensively has continued to progress and really come along in his first few professional seasons. So I went with Ke'Bryan Hayes at third base and Evan White over at first to round out my infield.
I mean, it is one of those interesting things about when we talk about what are you trying to achieve in a 1-game win, a 1-game must-win situation. You going with defense could very well work. I mean, there could be a line drive that somebody, Alec Boehm, let's say, laces down the left field line and Ke'Bryan Hayes eats it up because he is that good defensively.
Because he is Ke'Bryan Hayes.
Right. Both of these guys have Gold Glove potential. I'm not just throwing that out there. They really do. I mean, Ke'Bryan Hayes has won, I think, at least 2 minor league Gold Gloves already.
Yeah.
Evan White has been talked about the second he got drafted as a potential Gold Glove winner over at first base. And it's gotten to the point where I think maybe he should do what the Dodgers did with Cody Bellinger and try him in other spots. If he's athletic as he is, why stick him at the cold corner? But the Mariners just signed him to a major league contract. He's going to be their opening day first baseman whenever opening day comes. They obviously like him enough there to just keep him there forever. That's great. So, if you're going to draft for defense, these are the guys you take. We'll see if it makes a difference. I'm sure you'll remind me of it the second that Ke'Bryan Hayes does a 5-4-3 double play that Evan White has to dig out of the dirt. But again, your strategy is becoming more apparent as time goes on. Meanwhile, I'm just like, this guy seems good. That's why I took him. So speaking of which, my next pick was Dylan Carlson. I need an open left field spot. Dylan Carlson has played all 3 outfield spots for the St. Louis Cardinals. Obviously had a breakout year last year. He was our MLB winner for Breakout Prospect of the Year. First time he had ever hit, I think, 20-plus home runs. He stole 20-plus bases. Seems major league ready in all facets. Probably should have been called up to St. Louis when rosters expanded in September. That didn't happen, but he was very much in the conversation to win an outfield spot this spring. The game likes him enough to make him worthy of a starting spot. I certainly like him enough. He's a switch hitter. That's going to help me. I now have Dominguez and Dylan Carlson as switch hitters in my lineup. I think that's only going to help with matchups throughout the game. So Dylan Carlson will be my left fielder. And then I went with Greg Jones as my shortstop. Now, there are a couple things to like about Greg Jones overall. First off, he's not a top 100 overall prospect, but the guy has speed for days. The Tampa Bay Rays organization is an especially speedy one. Xavier Edwards stands out from that. They just got him from the San Diego Padres. Vidal Brujan is a 70 grade speedster as a second baseman. Greg Jones right up there with them in terms of speed. He adds speed to this lineup that we don't really have outside of maybe Dylan Carlson and Joe Adell so far. Really like him for that. But the game, in the same way that they, I think, overranked Jason Dominguez, they overranked Greg Jones. He's also a 72 right now. We haven't seen much out of him. He only played at Hudson Valley last year in the Rays organization, a Class A short season affiliate. But the game likes him enough to make him a 72. I think if we put him at short, we put Gavin Lux at second, we put Carter Kieboom at third. Now all of a sudden we have 3 shortstops on our infield. The reason they're good shortstops is they have good enough range, they have good enough hands, they have a good enough arm. So the fact that we have some versatility with Lux and Kieboom that allows us to take Jones, who is a good player, and then, as I was mentioning before with Alec Boehm, a little bit of first base in his profile. We'll stick him over there. We don't have to worry about the defense, even if the Phillies like him enough to be a long-term third baseman. This is not a lineup necessarily that any organization would want to put together, but I think the more bats I can get in here, the more shortstops I can get on the infield, the better it is going to be for me. So taking Greg Jones here, a little unorthodox, not that's necessarily something I planned coming into this, but the way the draft unfolded allowed me to stick him here, and I'll take full advantage of his speed and how the game seems to like him better than other prospect rankings.
And then my last 2 picks for our starting 10 are 9 in the lineup in our starting pitchers. We also, of course, did fill out the other 16 spots, and we'll put out the rosters and everything, but we're only going to go through 10 so far, or for the podcast purposes. I went sort of high risk, high reward, but another young guy who's got a ton of talent. He's only 21. He played all of last season at 20, but he reached AAA for 26 games. That's Christian Pache in the Atlanta organization. So he's my last outfielder. At least among my starters. And then my 10th pick, my final pick, my DH pick, was the guy that I passed over for first base, who was still, we were just thrilled to get him. We were thrilled to get him at this spot. Didn't know, we had him on our big board, didn't know if he'd still be there. But Andrew Vaughn of the Chicago White Sox organization, who is listed as the top first base prospect in baseball, and of course has not climbed a great deal so far since being selected in the first round last year, but made it to Class A Advanced Winston-Salem, and a guy who very quickly, I think, could make that climb to the big leagues. He was drafted out of Cal, won the Golden Spikes Award in college baseball as a sophomore in 2018, and I think he was a semifinalist as a junior, and then was the third overall pick in 2019's draft. So Andrew Vaughn, we got so much depth there at the first base spot. Really, to kind of spoil this, we have 3 potential first basemen, because I also ended up taking Dalton Varsho, who's a catcher, plays the outfield, but he could slide over there. We got so much depth and athleticism on this team, Sam. We're dripping with it.
You're dripping with it, sure, if that's what you want to go with. I mean, obviously, I would hope so. Like they were. This is a 2-team draft. If you were sitting here and be like, well, I think second base is a real rough spot for me.
We really had to reach by that 10th round.
Yeah. I'm glad you are happy with your team, Tyler. This is going to make it so much more fun when we record this. But this one came down to its scouting for me. And I've been playing the show ever since I got it in quarantine, like everybody else. And every time I start a franchise mode, I go over to Top Prospects. It's my job. I want to see how this is going to work. And pretty consistently, whenever I start a franchise, the top prospect in the game, according to MLB The Show, is Corey Lee of the Houston Astros organization, the catcher. He will now be my starting catcher. This is what we alluded to before when Tyler took Adley Rutschman. He's a 75 in the game right now. This is the guy who's the 32nd overall pick in last year's draft. Funny enough, he also went to Cal. He usually hit behind Andrew Vaughn, so it's kind of fitting that he plays behind him here. Usually when you look at his scouting report, he's got above average power. The hit tool has some questions. He's got a wicked arm behind the plate. There's enough to like in his profile right now, but he's the number 8 Astros prospect entering 2020. According to the game, he's the number 1 prospect in all of baseball. So I will take him here and just see how that works. Take advantage of how the game seems to like him, even if that's not necessarily how I would do it. I would have picked Joey Bart as my catching prospect if we were doing this in real life. But because we're doing this in a simulation and it's a series of codes that is determining who's going to win this, I will take advantage of Corey Lee, see how that works. But adding above average power is only going to help me. Hopefully he can throw out a couple guys on the base pass. Well, I would love to see, let's say Luis Robert try to steal off him and see how that matchup goes down. But yeah, Corey Lee sneaking in here as my starting catcher would have surprised me going into this, but after scouting, I like him enough to make it work, and we'll see how that happens.
We got some other fun guys on each roster. The pitching staffs are obviously loaded because we pretty much just took nothing but starters. Guys right now are starters.
I will say I took Emmanuel Clase, the Cleveland Indians organization.
I had some debate as to whether or not I should go out and take an actual reliever somewhere, but I don't know. I decided to stick with the more ranked guys, the more regular. I was going to, if I was going to grab somebody, it was going to be Sam Delaplane from the Seattle Mariners organization, because last year he struck out 120 and 68 2/3. But I feel like he's also probably one of those guys who gets a little bit lost in the. I don't even know if he's in the game. I would imagine he's probably lost in the rating shuffle.
It's weird the people who are in the game and who aren't.
And who aren't. You pointed out a few, right? AJ Puck is not in the game.
AJ Puck is not in the game, even though he pitched in the majors last year. Gavin Lux apparently wasn't in the game when they originally released it, and then he was added in. So I'm imagining AJ Puck will be around shortly. James Karinchak is another Cleveland Indians reliever who I really, really wanted to take because his stuff is incredible as a reliever. He's not in there, so I didn't make that happen. But it was really funny sorting through these rosters now and them deciding who's in the rotation and who becomes all of a sudden your long reliever. Jesus Luzardo was one of my picks. He should probably be in any rotation, but the fact that he's now my left-handed reliever is going to be awesome, I think, for me as my first left-handed option out of the bullpen, backing up Brendan McKay. But, like we said, there was really no going wrong here. It's just going to be loaded with starting pitchers who have deep arsenals, can go multiple innings if we need them to. And it'll be fascinating to see how these managers handle these rosters now that we put them together.
It's going to be great. Mackenzie Gore struggles. I got Casey Mize right behind him. So, checkmate, Sam.
And this will technically be his Hartford debut, and we know what he does in AA debuts.
Right, exactly. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
In the Eastern League also. So that's it. Those are our starting 10s, and we'll have the rosters and all that stuff. And again, we're going to simulate the game, do the broadcast for it on Monday and Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern time. We will send it live, and we're going to have some fun with it. Yeah,
so that video will be live on Minor League Baseball's YouTube page, but we're also going to link to it. We're going to embed the video itself on the podcast page, milb.com/podcast. Go there to watch. The video will be going live itself. You'll be able to watch like a regular baseball game starting at 7. It'll probably go about an hour, something like that. And then once it's over, that will be still on the MLB YouTube page. So feel free to go back, watch your favorite moments. Maybe it'll be the replay where you can find exactly where Tyler's heart is broken. We'll see.
Like Ralph Wiggum.
Yeah, just rewinding it, putting it in slow motion, just focusing right in on when you can tell Tyler knew that his team was a losing one.
Oh, man. It's going to be great. And that's coming up for you next week. And with that, we'll wrap up this opening segment on this week's episode of the show. Benjamin Hill joins us next.
As an official partner of Minor League Baseball, Nationwide's here to make sure you're protected for every pitch life throws at you. Visit nationwide.com today to see how we can help meet your needs. Nationwide is on your side.
Lots to talk about with Benjamin Hill this week. The business of minor league baseball continues to roll along. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Tyler, and hello, Sam. It's great to talk to you again. I can't believe it's been a week since we last spoke. It feels like it was just yesterday.
Time simultaneously flies by, and also every night when I'm like getting ready to go to bed, I'll think about something that happened earlier that day, and it feels like it happened 6 weeks ago. It's very nice.
Yeah, it's very strange. I've heard that time is an illusion or a man-made construct, and that essentially all there ever is or will be is the eternal present. So I think that's something to consider right now, and maybe just forget our ideas of time entirely.
And Benjamin Hill is on Twitter at Ben's Biz, and we'll talk.
It's going to turn into Slaughterhouse 5 very quickly, and us talking about like this is happening, and this is also happening. At the same time.
I think people would probably enjoy it. I very much would. The more existential conversations that we have in this weird time of ours, probably the better. And that kind of leads us into one of our stories that we're going to talk about with Ben this week. The Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, the Class A affiliate of the Milwaukee Brewers, and a team that I once saw the hat of on the show An Idiot Abroad, on which I think is still on Netflix somewhere, but a guy who was leading a tour group in a West African nation somewhere just had a Timber Rattlers hat on, and it was a very strange moment, but that's what I always think of when I think of Wisconsin. Anyway, the Timber Rattlers are offering a chance for fans, much like their state colleagues, the Green Bay Packers, to their community-owned team are the Timber Rattlers, and you can now buy in with a membership certificate, kind of an owner's club certificate thing, and proceeds raised by that, according to the team, quote, will help ensure the baseball team is around for years to come and to assist the club while waiting and hoping to play baseball during the 2020 season. This is a really unique and really cool idea from Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, an issue that we've talked about in recent weeks, and certainly something I've been asked on Twitter and email is, with teams not playing, people are saying, well, how can we support these teams right now? And, because we're worried for their survival. These are difficult times. So when I saw what Wisconsin, who are based in Appleton, Wisconsin, when I saw what they were doing, I thought, this would be a good thing to write about, to highlight a tangible way in which fans can support a team. So the Timber Rattlers, they are a community-owned team, and they're governed by a 12-member board of directors, like the Appleton Baseball Club Incorporated. And so they're not selling stock right now, but they are selling these membership certificates, and they come with a wide array of perks, some free opening day tickets for whenever that may be, and that sort of thing. But beyond that, you get to vote for the board of directors that oversee the club. You get to sit in on meetings, involving how the team is run, the financials, the hiring processes, all this. You really get an inside look at how a minor league team operates. Traditionally, these membership certificates, these owner club people who are part of this owners club, have usually been local fans, but the team is trying to promote it right now, essentially in the absence of anything else to promote, and just trying to put it out there to baseball fans in general. If you're looking to support a team and, find out more about how that team operates, and especially a team, that is community owned, that does not have a millionaire or billionaire, owner attached to it that could maybe help out, when times get tough, they're getting creative, and they're trying to push this out there and, selling these certificates. And I think that people are going to be into this, or already are into this. I think people like the idea of being involved with the operation of a team and getting a little bit of an inside peek.
Yeah. So what exactly comes with that ownership? Because it's not like, you get a say in how much soda is going to cost or something like that, but there is something of a say that comes with these certificates, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is sitting in on the meetings, and looking at who's running for the board of directors and being able to vote there. I think you do have a little more of a direct conduit to the team in terms of knowing who to communicate with, asking questions. I talked to Rob Zerjav, the team president, and he said, please. If you're a member, if you're a part of our owners club, get in touch, ask specific questions. We're happy to answer when we can. So I think it's just having a more direct line to the team, and these meetings, are like so many meetings right now, could be run virtually, so you could be part of this without necessarily being in the Appleton region.
Ben, there was a really cool story that came out of the Pacific Coast League this week. The Omaha Storm Chasers, in absence of baseball on opening day and all that, they still did something to lift the spirits of the Omaha community, and it was really neat seeing the reaction to this on social media. But they had a fireworks night at Werner Park, and people were invited to come out and sit in their cars. They basically sold out the parking lot for that. That was a really, really cool gesture from Omaha, and it wouldn't surprise me if other teams follow suit in doing stuff like this.
Yeah, just like the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers story we just talked about, that's basically what I'm trying to do right now, is find creative, just like I always do, find creative things that teams are doing, and even in the absence of baseball. And I think the Storm Chasers fireworks show was an example of that. Obviously, Omaha, they play in the neighboring town, actually, of, I'm probably going to mispronounce it, but Papillion.
Papillion is correct.
So it's a comparatively rural, it's not, Papillion, yes, thank you. It is, not a rural area, but it's comparatively rural by AAA standards. Obviously, a fireworks show is not going to work in crowded downtown areas. You need the parking lot space. You need people to be able to congregate safely during these times. But in Omaha, with some wide open spaces, the Storm Chasers were able to make it work. They got about 5,000 cars into the parking lot. There were rules, established with the local Department of Health. No transactions, so among other things, that meant it was free. But there's no restroom, no concessions, anything like that. But they got like 5,000 cars in the parking lot, and then other neighboring businesses, schools, other parking lots were filled. People who lived close enough could just watch it in their yards. So there were thousands and thousands and thousands of people watching this the first COVID-19 era minor league baseball fireworks show. The team works with J&M Displays, a fireworks provider based in Iowa, and usually for a minor league ballpark show, they'd use 2 to 3 inch shells for their fireworks. But here, because they needed like a better visibility and a greater radius for the amount of people watching under these anomalous car-based circumstances, they used shells that were 3 times as big, just to light up the night sky that much more and to bring the show to that many more people. Another one of their partners, a local radio station, 104.5, actually carried the fireworks show soundtrack on the radio, so people in the car could tune in on the radio and listen to the music that would normally be played over the ballpark PA. So it was a huge success. Not everywhere could could pull it off, just given exactly how your community is affected by this right now, and of course the logistics of how big your parking lot is, and of course before doing this, I talked to Marty Cordero, the team president and general manager, and he's like, well, first step was talking to the police and essentially getting their okay, because we didn't want to do anything that could take away their attention and resources at a time when that can't happen. And then we had to talk to the Department of Health and get their guidelines. So, first things first, this is the sort of thing that has to be okayed by your local officials. But a really cool thing to see. It was a huge success in Omaha. They've got a second show for May 9th already scheduled, and I think they'll be releasing the details on that soon. And Tyler, like you said, I would expect to see more teams, ones who are able to do this as well. I highly doubt this is the last we'll see of a drive-in fireworks show.
Yeah, and what exactly are the logistics of this in terms of making sure that people kind of stick to their cars? It's one thing to put this on, and it's great that people can watch from the safety of their own lawns and backyards if they're close enough, but fireworks always attract crowds, and crowds are not exactly what we're aiming for. It's great if everybody's in their car. How do they make sure that everybody's staying safe?
Yeah, I mean, you have to lay out the rules, beforehand, and there was local law enforcement on hand and team staff. I think to a certain extent, kind of like here in New York City, everyone should wear a mask. Almost everyone's wearing a mask, but you can't necessarily enforce anything right now, like 100% along those lines. So I think a lot of it is, we're all bound by, this social contract right now of trying to, do what is right. And I think that's a lot of it is just kind of knowing the rules going in and saying like, okay, we will abide by these rules because it is best. I understand, though, that is why some communities might not be, in addition to potentially diverting resources from, local police or anything like that, they just might be nervous that they can't expect that many people to, necessarily follow the rules and not get out of their cars and anything like that. So I do think there's a level of trust, but so far so good in Omaha, and hopefully this can continue as long as it's safe to do so.
Benjamin Hill is on Twitter at BenzBiz and Instagram at TheBenzBiz, and you can find all of his stuff up on the site at MLB.com. And Ben, stay safe and stay healthy, and we'll do it again next week when the appropriate amount of human constructs of time have passed. Yeah, I mean, I'll just be here in the presence, so just reach out. I don't really understand the concept of what a week is or what a day is or what a moment is. I am just here eternally. Thanks, Ben. Hey, thank you.
I like the idea that you're frozen in amber and it's just us circling back to you every Wednesday afternoon and just being like, okay, now it's time to go find Ben who is stuck into the mountainside. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't look at it as frozen so much as floating in this sort of churning consciousness flux of the eternal present, and you can kind of I'm still working on it. These are trying times, right? Yeah, that is the truth. We're all trying something new. I'm trying to live in the eternal present. Yeah, I hear that. All right, dude.
All right, Ben. We'll catch you soon, whenever the soon is.
Yeah. It's all relative, man.
Later,
all right,
man.
Cool. Well, talk to you soon.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye. Bye.
Does this work? Move from call. Boom. Okay. All right. Andrew is ready to go. He sent me a text. I'll add him. This.
Yeah, so Josh told me to kind of steer this conversation more directly toward Andrew's story rather than talking about it as a series, because I guess they planned it as a series, but now Josh is thinking they might just do a couple more of them and not have it be a full series.
I wasn't even thinking about that. So yeah, that's good to know. Cool. When you said Andrew's story, I was like, does he have a personal connection with Buzz Arlett? What do you mean, Andrew? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Hello.
Hey, Andrew. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, so you're all set to go around.
Our MLB.com writer spotlight this week lands on Andrew Battifarano, our good buddy who joins the show. What's going on, man? How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being back. So Andrew's got a great story that is up on the site right now, one of our Monsters of the Minors, in which Andrew discusses a guy who I would imagine the vast majority of all of us had never heard of, and that is Buzz Arlett, who played 121 Major League games, all of them in one season back in 1931. But in his minor league career, hit like 9 billion homers and was also two-way player. He hit 432 homers in his minor league career and also won 108 games on the mound. That home run record stood until 2015 when Mike Hessman broke it. But what a fascinating story this guy is. I don't think I had never heard of Buzz Arlett before. Outside of the home run record, I never knew his full scope of his career.
Yeah, same here. I really didn't know a ton about him going into it other than Mike Hessman beat that guy that played, almost a century ago. And yeah, going through our feature sheet where we have a lot of ideas, we have this Monsters of the Minors series. So I reached out to Josh Jackson, our feature editor, and he gave me a couple of names to look into. Eventually, we kind of settled on Arlett and doing some digging. Sabres bio had a lot of great stuff. Luckily, I still had some access to my BU account where I went to school, and they had historical newspapers and, able to kind of dig through those and see his days with the Oaks and eventually his one season with the Phillies, which was actually very good by all accounts. He had an injury that kind of, derailed some of the season, but by all accounts, he had a great year. And then, he goes into that year with Baltimore the next year after leaving the Phillies and probably has his best year as a, professional baseball player. Just what a weird kind of winding career that he had that I don't think a lot of people knew. Like, we, cover the minors every day, and even we probably didn't know a ton about him before this.
Yeah, and you bring up that 1931 season. You write a little bit about it and quote the LA Times and the Associated Press in this story, and it seems like it was defense that caused him to be sent down. But what else did you find about, somebody who hits 400 plus homers in the minors should be getting multiple chances? Why didn't it work out except for that 1931 season?
Yeah. So from a lot of what I read, for the Sabre bio, a couple other sources, through those newspapers, obviously the way the minors worked then were a little different, and the Oaks basically had say in kind of the opportunities he could get major league wise. And there were a lot of times where teams were looking into him and wanted to sign him, but the asking price that they, had for him was a little bit too high. And I think that kind of made teams a little bit shy from signing him. And then there was a time earlier before 1931 where it looked like the Dodgers were going to bring him in. And unfortunately he got into a scuffle with an umpire, and the umpire legitimately whacked him on the face with his mask and basically cut his season short, and the Dodgers did not sign him after that. So that was just another kind of unfortunate incident. But then the next year he did end up with the Phillies. But yeah, I think a lot of it had to do with just the Oaks didn't want teams to sign him if they weren't going to pay enough. And unfortunately, before, affiliated ball was, kind of the modern system, that was kind of the way it worked. They were independent and they could do what they wanted.
What's really interesting, too, Andrew, is that in that one major league season, is pretty damn good. 121 games, and obviously statistical records from back then on the major league side in 1931 probably are pretty accurate. Minor league side, not completely inaccurate, but there are things that, are not part of. For example, we don't have the amount of plate appearances that he had in a season, or strikeouts and walks and that kind of stuff. But for his major league numbers in 121 games in 1931 for Philadelphia, he batted .313. 387 on base percentage, 538 slugging percentage. He walked 45 times to 39 strikeouts, and he had a WAR of, I think, almost 2.5. And evidently defense was kind of the question. But why just that one season in the big leagues? He was sent to the International League, the Baltimore Orioles, who were then effectively a AAA team back then after that season was over.
Yeah, I think I was reading something that the Phillies wanted to get more speed in their outfield, and he was not particularly the fastest guy in the world, and his defense obviously was the shakiest part of his game. And so that was kind of the end of the run for him. He didn't get to play that full year because of the injury, and who knows, maybe if he didn't have that injury and say hit 30 home runs, maybe they would be like, hey, this guy has a lot more potential. We could kind of stick with him. But they had Chuck Klein, who was one of the, higher, I think he was one of the few guys that actually had a higher slugging percentage than Buzz Arlett that year. And so they're like, all right, we can make our outfield defense better. We don't need this guy. And that was kind of that. It's just kind of an unfortunate part of the game. And I guess, we look at it under, a modern purview where, all three true outcomes. And this guy was, kind of the prototype for it, except, like you said, didn't strike out a whole lot, got a lot of walks, and hit a lot of home runs. We look at it from today and see this guy being a very valuable player. And back then, game was just kind of a little bit different, where they really did build around, defense and speed. And I guess just because that just didn't kind of have that, fit for the team.
And one of my favorite facts about this whole story, beyond winning 100+ games and hitting 400+ homers in the minor leagues, is the fact that he ended up in both the Pacific Coast and the International League Halls of Fame. Do you think that's something that could happen now? It feels like it's almost unattainable, just because by the time guys reach AAA, you're getting to the majors, or if it doesn't work out, you're looking at other leagues. You're looking at South Korea or Japan or even the Mexican League. If you're going to play 5+ seasons at AAA and not crack through the majors. Do you think a career like this is possible outside of Mike Hessman, who might be part of a dying breed himself?
Yeah, I think that is almost impossible. I don't want to say it can't happen, but like you said, just for someone to play that long and have the success on both sides of it, they just, at some point they probably would get a call up to the majors, you would think, right? It'd be a little bit hard to see them playing both sides, having success in both leagues, not getting some sort of opportunity, or, deciding like, hey, if I'm not getting those opportunities, I'll play elsewhere, like you said, overseas or independent ball. This is one of those just kind of unique facts about him that I just don't think I can see or envision anyone doing for a very long time, or maybe ever again. It's just that he has that kind of with him. Just speaks to how good of a player he was for such a long time, because like he comes in as a pitcher, gets injured, and then he's like, hey, can I start hitting full time? And it has to hit switch hitting because it hurts his right arm. He's a dominant right-hander. Mostly it's lefty for that reason, and he ends up being one of the greatest power hitters in minor league history. It's just really fascinating that he was able to do it on both coasts, and got so many people got to see him play back then.
Andrew Battifarano is on Twitter at Andrew@Bat with 2 T's. This story is up on the site right now. You can read all about Buzz. We need more buzzes in the game of baseball. We haven't had a good buzz in a while. I don't even know the last Buzz
I
nickname
totally
guy.
agree.
Do you know why he was nicknamed Buzz?
Yes, I do actually. So it started when he was a pitcher, and from what I was reading, it basically was, he was so good, he was cutting through lineups like a buzzsaw, and shortened the buzz.
Interesting.
And I think it kind of sounds better than Russell Arlett, I think.
Yeah, that's true. I would agree with that. Buzz is, I guess I feel like the last famous Buzz, not counting Aldrin, the last famous new Buzz was Kevin's brother in Home Alone, and that was 26 years ago.
Are you just going to overlook Buzz Lightyear?
But he's not.
Wow.
He's not a. He's
Buzz Lightyear
he's a
not getting any
toy.
love.
He's a toy, Sam.
Well, that's why I think there haven't been more
Character.
Buzzes, to be honest with you.
Couldn't put Buzz Lightyear into a lineup. He couldn't play. He's 10 inches tall. Couldn't hit.
He's already got the helmet, though. So there is that.
Well, he could be in a starting lineup at action figure set.
That's true. That could work.
Actually, they did let Buzz Lightyear pitch once, but he gave up a home run without recording an out. So now his ERA is infinity and beyond.
As soon as you started, I was like, "Oh, here comes a Sam joke."
Yeah, I saw that coming.
Without an inning pitched, it was really a light year for him.
Oh God!
Oh,
Sam is the he's the MLB.com all-time leader in groans. Just Sam.
What is your war in groans? I would love Baseball Reference to track that for us.
If somebody wants to do it, I groans above average. My GAR, as it were.
Groans above replacement writer. Yeah, it's.
I think just for that, your Jaws is incredibly high. You'll have a good Hall of Fame chance.
Andrew's story is up on the site now. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Wrapping up this week's episode of the show before the show. So again, coming up on Monday, Sam and I will be recording our simulated dream matchup, and on Tuesday it'll be out there for you all to watch, and we're pumped about that. Some other news this week from minor league baseball, and we're going to kind of address this the way we've only been able to slightly address things in the past around this similar topic. But obviously reports this week that there had been agreements reached on possible contraction of teams and such. Minor league baseball put out a statement on Tuesday. Quote, recent articles on the negotiations between MILB and Major League Baseball are largely inaccurate. There have been no agreements on contraction or any other issues. MILB looks forward to continuing the good faith negotiations with MLB tomorrow, as in today, the 22nd of April when we're recording this, as we work toward an agreement that best ensures the future of professional baseball throughout the United States and Canada.
Yeah, so like Tyler said, we're going to continue to say what we've been saying all along, is that PBA negotiations are ongoing. It sounds like the sides were officially sitting down this week, today, as we're speaking, to discuss what the next PBA will look like. Baseball America and Associated Press had put out some reports about potential contraction. Minor League Baseball pushed against that. We'll be able to talk about whatever the next PBA looks like when an agreement is finally reached. Right now, it's rumors, and obviously we're not doubting some of the reporting that's out there, even if Minor League Baseball has put some cold water on it. But when things are official, and we know what the professional baseball agreement will look like when that's set in stone, we'll bring it to you guys as quickly as we can and have a really in-depth conversation about what minor league baseball will look like after that PBA. Right now, negotiations are negotiations. Things get thrown out. There are responses and potential proposals and counter proposals and back and forth. Hopefully something gets settled, something that's great for both sides and great for minor league baseball, and keeping minor league baseball or baseball in some form in as many communities as we can have. That's one of the great things about minor league baseball. But when that officially gets solidified, we'll be able to talk about it more in depth. So keep it peeled here, and we'll see what comes of these PBA negotiations here in the future.
And that'll do it for this week's episode. He's Sam. I'm Tyler. Thanks to Ben and to Andrew. And we're excited for this game on Tuesday and our follow-up press conference and breakdown on Wednesday to talk about my win. That's it. I'll talk to you next week.